Hello everyone. This is the first video of a group of videos that offer a walkthrough on project number 2, the ColorPicker. The purpose of this project is to develop an iPhone application that allows the user to select to basically create a color made out of the three basic colors red, green, and blue. If you are not familiar with how digital colors are constructed, there are different ways to do that. One of them is to provide a value of red, the value of green, the value of blue between 0 and 1, where 0 means that there's no contribution of the basic color and 1 means a full contribution. So if you have a color that is made out of 0 red, 0 green, 0 blue, that means this is a black color. If it's a red equal 1, green equal 1, blue equal 1, this means this is a white color. And between the two, changing the values of the red, green, and blue will give you the different combination of the color. So we want an app that allows the user to construct a color using these three values, in addition to an alpha value that describes the transparency or opaqueness of the color. And this app will, to create this app, it will allow us to recognize different components and learn more about them, as well as combining these different colors together. So let's get started. So if we open Xcode, and now that you completed project number 1, you will see it here in your recent projects. We are going to create a new Xcode project, so click on Create New Xcode Project. As I mentioned before, all our projects will be iOS applications, a single view application. Click Next. It will ask you what's the product name. This is your project name, and start always with your last name for the purpose of this class, followed by the project name. You can either use the project name or call it project number 2. The device is iPhone. Check storyboard and automatic reference counting, and you don't need to check the unit tests for the purpose of this class. The company identifier, this best practice here is to use the reverse of your URL. So here I use the full URL to our class. So it's UC, our college, our department, and the class name. The next, it will ask you where do you want to save the project, and I am saving all my project in this folder that has the class name, and then click Create. If you are not using a Get repository, then uncheck this one. If you're familiar with what that is and you used it, you can keep it and it will allow you to sync your project with the repository. Xcode will do its magic, which basically creating the basic files to construct a single view application. Since we are talking about frameworks, in the project configuration page, which you get by clicking on the project name, if you go to build phases and expand link binary with libraries, you will see that our project has 3 frameworks: the UI kit framework, the foundation framework, and the core graphic framework. If you would like to add another framework, which we don't need for this project but just to demonstrate, you click the add button and you get a list of all the frameworks that are available in the iOS 6. And if you downloaded a framework from a third party, you can click others and go to the file where you downloaded the framework and bring it up. Okay, so this is our configuration. In building the app, to review, there is a storyboard. The icon in the bottom here allow you to apply the 3.5 form factor to give you the shorter length iPhone, or the 4 form factor to give you the longer one, depending on which one you want to design for. On the left side, there is 2 files representing the application called the app delegate. the storyboard file, and two files representing the view control. The app delegates is where you can program things related to the life cycle of the app. We are not going to play with this for the purpose of this class. The storyboard is where you build the user interface and build the connection between the user interface and what we call the controller classes, where you program the control or the logic or the intelligence or the brain of your app, what you want the app to do. Every screen in your app, the one that is highlighted here with the blue color, is connected with a controller class. You can click on the identity inspector to the top right to see the name of the controller that this screen you selected is connected with. This means you use these two files, the viewcontroller.h and the viewcontroller.m, to program the intelligence or the brain that you want to control this particular view. H file is for header. This is where we make all our definitions, and M is for implementation. This is where we provide the instructions that makes those definitions work. On the left side is our navigation, our editing, and our utilities. The utility is two parts. The top part is the attributes, or it has 6 inspectors actually, and the lower part give you access to the library. The one that we'll use the most is the object library, symbolized by the cube on the lower part. Our app wants us to allow the user to select a degree of red, a value of red between 0 and 1, and to display the resulting color from that red. So we basically have two parts, one where we collect input from the user and one where we display output to the user. So we want to think of what components, what do we put on the view, on the screen, on the app that will allow the user to give us an input, and what can we put that allow us to display to the user what we will give them. For example, in project number 1, we were faced with the same situation. We used a text field component. We used the text field component in order to collect the user message in project number 1, and we used the label component in order to display the user result, and we used the button in order to indicate that the user has completed entering information in the text field component. So here we want to ask ourselves the same question: what component can allow us to get from the user a number between 0 and 1? A text field will work because the text field allows the user to enter everything, but I'll give you another option which we will learn about in this project, is the slider. The slider allows you to display a horizontal bar called the track that represents a range of values. So the beauty of the slider over text field in this project is that the slider does not let the user enter any random values. In the text field, the user can type anything on the keyboard. With the slider, the user just can't. They have to just move the slider and we control the value. So it is better to ensure that our app is not getting any corrupt data from the user. So to add a slider to the app, we move the slider. And we got ourselves a slider. On the attribute inspector, the slider has multiple attributes. First one is the value, and the minimum value is 0. The maximum value is 1. These are, you can set those anywhere you want, but since we're using colors, these are the values we want for the color. The default value, do you want it to start as 0.5 or 0.25? So you can say, well, I want it to start as 0.25 in here, and this is the 0. You can specify an image for the minimum and the max. the track tint, which is the minimum side of the track, I'm gonna make this a slider for red, so I'm gonna color it red. The maximum track, I'm gonna leave it white to know that this is still not filled, and the thumb one, I'm gonna use the color I want, so it is red. This way I'm showing and telling the user that this is the slider to specify the red value. So this will be a component to display the red value, and we're just gonna need to add 3 of those components. So we can go ahead and add them. So add the second one. We need one for the red, one for the green, and one for the blue colors. So again, the values are the same, and the minimum one, this one will be the green, so I will color it green, and the maximum I will color it white, and the thumb I will color it green. And then I need a third one for the blue. And again, the values are the same. Maybe I'll make this start with 0.75. And the minimum, I will make this blue. And the thumb will be blue. And the maximum will be the white. So I added 3 sliders. And the slider will work. You can run the app. And when you run the app, you'll be able to move the sliders around, but you will notice that it doesn't do anything. So you can change the value of the red, you can change the value of the green, and actually what we're doing here, this is a user action. So go back to the reading. We are generating an event on the app by moving this slider and changing the value of the slider. So an event is generating, identifying that the user has changed the value of the slider, that is blue. The event is communicated to operating system. The operating system captures it, notifies the app. The operating system recognizes that this is done on this view or this screen. So it knows that this class or this file, the view controller.h and .m, is the controller of this screen, so it notifies that. However, we did not build any connection between these sliders and the class, so we basically it goes away because it doesn't find anyone to respond to it. In other words, the app did not register that it needs to receive notification and respond when the user changes these sliders. The other thing that is not here is we did not yet add the component that will display the new color or the color that we constructed for this app, and we will do this in the second video.